Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to discuss about Terraform best practices. Terraform is a very popular tool nowadays. So even if you are a professional who is working on a production environment, or if you are a fresher who doesn't know anything about DevOps or Terraform, I will make sure that you will fully understand this video, and I am explaining everything from very scratch. So let's get started. So before we going to discuss about Terraform best practices, we need to understand Terraform state and state file. It is a very crucial step to understand Terraform flow as well, that how Terraform actually works. So we will understand that as well. So for what purposes we actually use the Terraform? So we use Terraform basically for two purposes. First, to automate the creation of infrastructure, and the second is to maintain that infrastructure. Not only that infrastructure which is created by Terraform, but also which you have created through CLI or console, you can manage that as well. That differentiates Terraform from other infrastructure as a code tool. So if you compare it to the AWS CloudFormation can only manage the infrastructure which is created by CloudFormation itself. So that's the biggest advantage of Terraform over the CloudFormation and other infrastructure as a code tool. So these are the basic two use cases of Terraform. So how Terraform actually automating the creation of infrastructure and maintaining the infrastructure? It is doing by the means of state. So what state does? It tracks your current infrastructure. So to track our current infrastructure, Terraform automatically creates a file which is defaultly named as terraform.tf-state. So what this file actually does, it stores the actual state of your infrastructure. Means it contains the details of your current infrastructure and what are the resources in it, and it contains all the details which you are managing through the Terraform. And we have another file named as resource.tf. So this is our Terraform script which we usually created. So this is created by Terraform, and this is the Terraform script which we created. Just like we want to create a resource EC2, so usually we name it as ec2.tf. We want to create a vpc.tf. That's why I renamed it as commonly as resource.tf. So what we put in that Terraform script, we store the desired state of infrastructure. Just like I want to create an EC2, so I will store the details, what type of EC2 I want, and all the details related in which region I want, what VPC I want to attach. So I can mention all the details in this Terraform script file. So it stores the desired state of infrastructure, means what I want the infrastructure to be. So what Terraform does, it compares these two states. Means the actual state which is presently of your infrastructure and what you actually want to change into. It compares these two states. So when you execute Terraform plan command, so basically Terraform is a bit of CLI tool. So when you execute this Terraform plan command, so what it actually does, it compare these two states and create an execution plan. Execution plan means what changes and modification Terraform is going to do. So it just shows you whole plan that these modifications are going to make. That's the use of our first command, Terraform plan. And I also suggest to everyone, make sure to run Terraform plan command every single time before you run the Terraform apply. And then we have another command, and which is a very important, and you, if you are dealing with the Terraform, then you are probably using it most, Terraform apply. So what a Terraform apply command does, it compare both the states and it create the execution plan. However, it goes further and it make the changes as well. So in Terraform plan command, it is not making any changes. It's just showing you what changes is going to make, but it is not making that changes. However, the Terraform apply command make those changes. So whenever you run the Terraform apply command, it shows you execution plan in which it shows that what changes you are going to make, what are you creating, what you are deleting. So it shows you all. And when you provide input as yes, then it make those changes as well. So I hope now the whole flow of Terraform is clear to you guys, and how the Terraform actually works. If still you have doubt, you can join our Telegram group. I will provide the link in the description, or you can ask in the comment section of YouTube as well. So as now we understand how Terraform actually works, so now understand state file in detail. So Terraform state file is basically a JSON file. So as I already told in the previous slide, it contains the list of all resources which you are managing through the Terraform, which is the actual state of your infrastructure. You might be wondering, in the first slide I said that Terraform created it automatically. So Terraform state file got created automatically whenever you execute Terraform apply command for the very first time. So I hope by now it's clear that for what purposes we need state and state file actually, and how Terraform is using it. So now come to our main topic, that is Terraform best practices. I divided our best practices in the three sections. First is the issue section, in which we discuss why actually we need that best practice, why we need to follow that best practice. In the second section, we are going to discuss what is actually that best practice. And in the third section, that how we can implement that best practice. So let's get started. So our issue number one is that we already discussed that state file is a JSON file. Most of the professionals know JSON and YAML, so it can be edited easily. That means you are actually altering with the actual state of your infrastructure, which might give you an unexpected error, or you may face some issue in the later point of stage. So this will impact your performance, you are compromising your security, and the most important, you are increasing your cost as well. So to resolve this issue, we need to follow our first best practice, that is never ever manipulate the state file directly. Always manipulate it through the Terraform commands. So this is a very important best practice. That's why I put it at the very first. Never ever manipulate it manually. I have seen many of the professionals who have a lot of experience doing such mistakes, and later it will impact to their organization. So never ever do that. So how you can implement this best practice? Whenever you want to manipulate the Terraform state file, always use these two commands. One is the Terraform apply, which we already seen, and second is Terraform state, which is generally used for the advanced state management. So apart from these two commands, never ever use any other method to manipulate the state file. I'm saying so many times never ever, that means it is a very important best practice. I hope you guys now understand it and you will always follow this best practice. Now let's move ahead to the second issue. As already discussed, whenever we run the Terraform apply command for the very first time, Terraform creates the Terraform state file, but it creates locally on your machine. But here lies in our problem. When you work in a real world organization, you have to work in a team. So if your team members are also working in it on, you are also working on it, then every team member have a different state file, which again result into a conflicts and issues. So what is the resolution of it? That we need the latest state file with every team member. So how we can do that? Here comes our second best practice, which is to always set up a shared remote storage to store that state file. The best practices which I am showing currently is for the state file only. Remember, in Terraform we generally deal with these two files. One is the Terraform state file, second is Terraform scripts file. So currently we are talking about the best practices of Terraform state file. So here is our issue, that we want the latest state file, and how we are going to deal with it? We have to set up a shared remote storage for it to store that state file, so that every team member can have the latest state file with them. So to implement this best practice, Terraform has a facility of backend configuration, where we can define where we want to store our Terraform state file. So here you can see a snapshot of Terraform backend configuration, where I use the example of AWS S3. So here you can see I just specify my bucket name, the path of key, and the region in which the bucket it is. By this way you can tell Terraform that here I want to store my state file. So remember that we are only talking about the best practices of state file as of now. Later we discuss best practices of Terraform script as well. So here you can see Terraform supports only several available backends. So in case of AWS, it is using Amazon S3. In case of Azure, it is using Azure Blob Storage. In case of GCP, it is using Google Cloud Storage. Or in case if you don't want to use any of the cloud provider, you can use the facility of Terraform as well by using the Terraform Cloud. So by this way, you can set up a remote storage to store our state files so that every team member has the latest Terraform state file. So now comes to the next issue, as now every team member has the latest state file, but what will happen when other team members also try to execute at the very same time when you are trying it to? So this might result into the conflicts and the corruption of a state file. To resolve this issue, we have to follow our next best practice, which is to use the state locking feature. So what it actually does, it lock your state file until all the changes in the state file got completed. So let's see how we can implement it. So we can configure this state locking in our storage backend. So how you can do that? You have to do nothing. Terraform will automatically lock the state file if it is supported. What I mean by this supported, I will tell you in the last part. So in case of AWS, our backend is set up on S3 and it supports state locking and consistency via DynamoDB. So as I told, all Terraform backend doesn't support state log. That's why I already told in the second point that it will automatically log state only if it is supported. So you have to choose your backend wisely. However, in the case of AWS, S3 support all the feature which Terraform has to offer in case of backend. That's why in the real world, we generally use AWS S3 as our backend configuration for Terraform. So now comes to the next issue. So we now have a storage location and we have logged that state file as well. But what will happen if that storage got corrupted or it get lost, or you may overwrite that data with anything, or somehow you loses your state file? Then what will happen? And how you can resolve this issue and what best practice you have to follow so you can overcome with these issues. So let's see. So our fourth best practice and the most important one is to backup your state file. So this is a very simple one, but I have seen professionals not doing that. So you have to always take the backup of your state file. So to implement that, we have to use the feature called versioning. You might heard in the S3 versioning. So we just simply enable the S3 versioning so that it can store the multiple version of your state file, so that in case of a failure, we can revert back to the previous state whenever we want. So our next issue is more related to the real world while you are working practically with the Terraform, because in real world we have multiple environments in our setup, like production environment, non-production environment, testing environment. So what best practices one should follow when using Terraform in multiple environments? So the best practices say that we have to use one dedicated state file per environment. So best practices say we have to use one separate Terraform state file according to our environment and to use a separate backend configuration to store that Terraform state file. So do not ever use a single state file for every environment. Always use different state file for different environments. So as per our general organization setup, we have to work with the team and we need to share our Terraform script as well. Also, we need to back up our Terraform script so that we can recover it whenever any failover happens. So to deal with this issue, what we can do? We have to host our Terraform script in a Git repository. So basically we have to treat our Terraform script similar to our application code. It gives you a functionality of a code, so you have to treat it like that. By using the Git repository, it allows us to better collaborate with our team. It also provides the version control facility, so we can revert in the case of failure to any previous version. Also, to use a separate Git repository, not your application Git repository. Also use a different Git repository per your environment, because you don't want to put all your coins at a single place, so we will not lose all the things at the same time. Now let's see some other best practices related to Terraform script. So as I already told, we have to treat our Terraform script as our application code, and it should be properly tested and reviewed before you merge into the master branch of your Terraform Git repository. and we have to use the proper automated CI/CD methods. Like we have to build a pipeline, and we have to properly release infrastructure, and we should set up a proper approval to of that pipeline, and we have to set up it with the proper permissions. So let's see what we have learned till now from the best practices of Terraform statefile. So first is we have to only use Terraform commands to manipulate the state file, not any other method other than the Terraform commands. Second is to use a shared location. So we will use a shared remote location to store our state file, so we can collaborate in a team. Third one is state locking. State locking will allow to lock your file until all the changes in it are completed. So it will result in the better team collaboration. The last and the important one is backup. So we can enable the file versioning for our backup. So these are the best practices you can use while using the Terraform. So I hope you understand all the Terraform best practices, and if still you have doubt, you can ask me in the comment section, or you can join our Telegram group. I will provide the link in the description. Also subscribe the channel so you will be notified with the every single video I updated on my channel. Thanks for watching this video till the end. Bye.